Howdy, brothers.
Welcome back to another episode of Whiskey and Water.
You love to see it. We are here with an incredible episode with Demi Marchese. She is the founder and owner of 12th Tribe, which is the boutique for it girls. And we are just so excited to have her on. I have loved her boutique forever. And so it's just really a fun moment.
The girls who get it, and the girls who don't.
Period.
Speaking of which, if you're here from TikTok, what's up?
Welcome. We had, not to toot our own horn, not to brag, not to humble brag. We had a video go viral. And I wish you guys could see our facial expressions. We had a video go viral with me and Olivia in it. We were actually talking about modeling. It was a hot take. Some people get it, some people don't, regardless. But then we kind of had some of that like trickle down onto a video that we made for the podcast. So a lot of people said that they would subscribe and listen. And if you're here from that, we love you. If you're not here from that, we still love you and appreciate you being here.
There's going to be like no one from that video listening. Yeah, if you are from that video and you're listening to our show now, slide in our DMs because we want to see you and lurk you and say hi. Okay. Anyways, next up, we have an amazing episode for you guys. Like Jess said, it's really great. And we actually both have worked with 12th Tribe as influencers and received their products, and their stuff is just top tier. Like I said, the girls who get it. The girls who don't. Although we love all girls here, even the girls who don't get it. But before we get into the conversation, we are going to do our segments, our high and lows of the week, and then our deep dive. So every week we deep dive into a collaboration, a partnership of ours, and we are super transparent with you guys because we believe in influencer transparency. Okay, so let's get into it. What is your low of the week, brother?
My low of the week, if you guys also don't know, because if you're new here, because we're banking on there being a bunch of new people. There probably is no one.
There's no one.
We also own a creative agency called Mood. You guys should check them out on Instagram. Check them out. Check us out. I'm losing my mind. I have a flight to catch in literally like an hour and a half, and I'm losing
Catch
it.
flights, not feelings.
And I'm losing it.
We're also only on one mic today. We're only on one mic today because the universe is conspiring against us fucking recording this podcast, and our technology is not working. So 2 girls, 1 mic.
We are literally passing the mic back and forth as we have things to say.
We're not passing it. We're grabbing it.
She's grabbing it. It's my turn. I have the totem. Leave me alone. Anyways, so my low, we own this creative agency, and we're having a creative difference internally, not with me and Liv. But we're just having some leadership challenges, and honestly, this is an opportunity for growth, and we will only come out of this better and stronger and better leaders. But it's never fun and it's a little uncomfy, but that's kind of the low for the week. We'll give more info on that after it's kind of washed over, and once we've kind of given a solution to it so that we can kind of talk about it from a better perspective. What's your low, brother?
I just want to say our energy right now is so chaotic and I love it. My low, it also has to do with our creative agency Mood. We took on a client. I don't know if we were like literally smoking crack when we took this on.
Yes, we were.
But in hindsight, we completely undervalued and undercharged what we should have. So this was a TikTok creation package, and we agreed to 8 TikToks or /reels. And we're like, yeah, easy peasy. We could knock them out. And it has been such a bitch with, going back and forth on creative concepts, this and that. And we're already like, we pretty much knew like days after we gave them our quote that we undercharged ourselves, because it's just that type of client, which is fine. Like, we are able to work with difficult clients, but it's hard to do when we are underpaid, when we because then the resentment comes in. So that's a low, but like Jess said, no losses, just lessons. Definitely a learning moment for us. These short, easy TikToks take hours, and like you think we would know that of all people, but it is a lesson learned and it won't be happening again. So that's my low, is just spending energy on that client has just like, I can't help but feel a little resentful, and it's not their fault. It's our fault,
It is. And at least we've had there's no blame here, because obviously like we all fucked up when we decided on like what we were charging. So we've all been kind of collectively bitching about it, but it's kind of also been like nice to all feel like at least we're on the same page about it. And yeah, we'll never do that again.
Yeah.
Guys, when we say we undercharged, we mean like we would probably charge 3 times what we are charging them now. Like we were on another fucking planet. We still don't know, because we had clients before that we were charging more. I think they might have hacked our emails and given themselves that quote. You want to say something about that?
No.
Okay, yeah, let's move on.
Let's move on.
Okay, the high is that I'm going to LA tonight, so that's super exciting. I ended up going there last minute for a meeting / job. I'll fill you guys in more about that at some point. But yeah, so it was a really last minute job, and I'm just excited because I love doing chaotic things. It works out with like the work week we had. We don't have any shoots this week, so just gonna like full send for the week, work remotely, and just enjoy being on the West Coast for a little bit.
Yes. Love that for you. My high of the week is our TikTok that went viral. So fun.
So fun.
So fun because it's honestly like, as much as I'm like, oh, we all say we don't need validation in the creator space, it is nice now and again to get some sort of validation for the work that you're putting in. And for us, validation comes in terms of numbers. Do we associate ourselves with it? No, but it is nice to see like work, hard. I don't want to say hard work, but work that we're putting in pay off, because making a bunch of videos and watching them flop is just not the most encouraging thing. So it's cool. It's fun. We love it. Gain like a good amount of followers on TikTok, gain some followers on Instagram. And that's always like a nice little push and re-inspiring for us to just keep going and doing what we're doing. I have some really ambitious number goals to hit this year with my followings. So yeah, it was a good little push for us. Let's get into, you want to say something?
Deep dive.
Let's get into our deep dive. So for this week, I'm deep diving into my collaboration and partnership with Princess Polly. I have been working with them for years under like a trade. So they would give me it started, I think, as like $300 in trade for clothing. I got it up to $600. And after, because transparency in this industry is good and we need it, after asking a friend of mine what her deal with Princess Polly was, she was like, yeah, I know they're paying me and I'm getting the store credit. And I'm like, oh gosh, Olivia, you knew better. So I'm happy to announce that I was able to negotiate a actual money rate in addition to the store credit. So the deliverables are still a lot for what it is, but I'm just happy that I was able to get paid out of this because I was not sure. So I have $600 shopping credit, and for Princess Polly, I will take it. I love their clothes. I'm wearing their set right now, so I will gladly take that. And then we worked out one YouTube try on haul and one Instagram in-feed post, which is easy for me to do. It makes sense. I'm always wearing their stuff anyways. So $500 payment and then $600 in store credit. So I am happy about that. And the way I got the deal is just through this relationship that I've had with them for a while. And yeah, those are the details about it. Okay, what is your deep dive?
Love that for you, brother. I will love the day when Princess Polly stops ignoring me.
That's me with Abercrombie. Abercrombie has ignored 10 of my emails.
Oh my gosh. And they responded to me right away.
It's so sad.
It really just be like that, guys. But you know what? The squeaky oil gets wheeled. The squeaky wheel gets... Oh, yes.
Oh, I thought you were
Oh, no, I wasn't kidding. Oh, I'm down bad. That's when you know that's when you know you gotta cut it here. All right, so my deep dive. I'm actually gonna deep dive on a collab that I've actually spoken about before, and I'm just gonna talk about how they haven't paid me, because that is part of this stupid fucking industry. I love the industry, I really do. I love my job, but I'm having an issue with this company who I have a couple other. It's like, so the marketing company is the one that it is representing the brand. And so I've worked with the marketing company multiple times for different brands. And I don't know what it is about this collab, but I've been like following up with the girl. At first she was like, hey, it's net 30. So, just give it 30 days, whatever. I was like, all right, fire. Waited 30 days, followed up, no response. I have followed up. So I followed up like twice. She said, oh, let me bump accounts payable, which is like, typically like the department that like pays you. They never responded. So I gave it like a week, and then they never said anything after she looped them in. And I was like, hey, maybe I need to say something. So I was like, hey, let me know if you need anything from me. No response. I followed up again. She said something and was like, "Hey, yeah, I'm like nudging them." But like, I think it's just so weird that like your accounting department hasn't even responded. Like, is anyone there? Hello, are you home? So yeah, I've followed up quite literally like 6 or 7 times about payment. She hasn't even said sorry or like given an excuse like, oh, someone's out of the office, or like, hey, I'm working on this for you, and I'm about to get nasty. On my last email, I was a little less nice. I was just like, hey, I need a response on this, like ASAP. I'm not asking nicely anymore. I'm just give me a response. And she was like, hey, I'm escalating this with the team manager. All she said. And so haven't heard from that team manager, haven't heard from her. And that was last week. So I told Taylor, our personal assistant, I was like, hey, send a nasty fucking email tomorrow. Like, tell him I need payment ASAP or we're threatening legal action. And if I need to fucking find your CEO and CC them on this email, I will, because this shit's getting annoying.
And that is, we always give you guys the truth and the reality of all situations. As amazing as influencing is, it's the best job in the world. This is the other side, is that we're not just getting like direct deposits every Friday into our bank account. Sometimes we do have to hunt people down for our payment. And it sucks because the work is already done. And we don't know if she's going to actually end up getting this or not.
And, like as an influencer, like let's say something is net 30 and you're like, what if I needed that money net like 30 days after, and like I was planning on using that for something, or like it's a couple thousand. So I'm like, what are we? Don't play with my fucking money. So yeah, I'm getting pissed now. I think, and I also just it's like the business owner in me is like, I just think it's extremely unprofessional, especially when I've been so patient and kind. Like it's been 2 months since I posted. It's been a month after I sent, it's a month after net 30. So they're 30 days late on the invoice. At this point, like there should be like a fee for them being late on the invoice. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know, like you can't do this in any other job. Like if any other corporate job where you're, working a 9 to 5, like someone can't just fucking not pay you for 30 days. So yeah, again, we like to just be transparent. Luckily, I'm in a very privileged position where I'm not entirely relying on that payment, but it is annoying to have to chase it down.
Yeah, maybe this year we will maybe get our own contracts, because we had a guest on, Kristen, a few episodes ago, and I know she has brands sign her own contract, and she includes something like it's another 10% for every week it's late or something along the lines of that. And I think that's definitely something that we should consider, and something if you guys are influencers yourselves and doing social content, definitely consider, because if they don't, if you're only signing their contract, like it's kind of they have the upper hand in a way.
It's in their ballpark.
It's in their terms. So it's definitely something to consider. Mm-hmm. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed our chaotic intro. You guys will love this episode. Like we said, reach out to us, send us a DM, say hi, let us know you're listening. And yeah, we'll see you on the other side.
Bye, brothers. All right, guys, we are live with Demi, who is the founder and owner of 12th Tribe. How are you today?
I'm great. It's so nice out here in California. I'm on the beach, so I can't complain.
It is actually super cold in Miami right now.
Really?
It was like, I walked my dog earlier this morning and I checked the weather and it was like 40 degrees out.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's snowing in Greece, so there's something going on.
There's something going on. So thank you so much for joining us today. And for our audience who isn't yet acquainted with you, tell them a little bit about yourself and who you are.
Yeah, well, I'm Demi Marchese. I'm the founder, CEO of 12th Tribe, which is a direct-to-consumer lifestyle fashion brand, which I started about 5-6 years ago now, after I graduated from San Diego State, on basically a whim, on accident. A passion project turned full-time business within like 6 months. So
wow.
I'm running the business out here in California. I have a great team of females that are just crushing it, and at the same time balancing my personal life in my 20s and trying to juggle it all.
Love that. You embody everything that this show stands for. So it's an honor to have you on. We're so excited. So tell us a little bit about what you studied in school. I'm curious to know if like what you studied correlates to what you're doing now. If you
Mhm.
had, any idea that this was going to be your life and your career path. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I had a pretty unconventional college experience. I went to two different community colleges, and then I went to San Diego State, and then I studied abroad. So I was all over the place. I wish I could say my major is such a big part of where I'm at today, but it's not. It was the
Yes. Never
experiences
is.
and yeah, studying abroad was one of the biggest catalysts for me, and I was really into my internships and working throughout college, but also because I went to community college right after high school, it put me in like a serious focus mode at a pretty young age because instead of going out to like frats and partying every weekend, I was just working all the time and working on my grades and trying to make money just so I could get out. But like I said, the studying abroad aspect of it, which I study international marketing, and I was a communication major at San Diego State. That's where I felt like I finally had sparked more of like my passion and my interest. When it came to fashion, I've loved fashion since I was like 14. I went to like fit fashion camps. I was on like the Nordstrom BP board, which is like basically an internship for high school kids. And somehow they let us like work in the store, and I just loved it. But coming out of college, I had no idea that I was gonna own a company or have so much involvement and be such a kind of placeholder in the industry. I went and applied for a handful of different jobs. My dream job was nasty gal because that was like the thing when we graduated. And when I didn't get my call, I got my interview. I didn't get my call. Well, I missed the call for my interview, and then I got a little sidetracked with my current project. So it quickly stopped and turned into an obsession. It stopped. I stopped looking for jobs, and this became
Hmm.
my obsession, and then turned into what it is today. So.
So how did it start off? I'm really curious. Were you just kind of like,
Mhm.
I like want to have my own clothes, like, and I'm sure you 12 Tribe is like like curated like collection of pieces, right? And some like
Mhm.
of your own as well.
So it's all our own now, but it
Oh,
started off,
nice.
our bio online is pretty outdated because when it first started, I sourced a lot of vintage pieces, one of a kind. I went to Southeast Asia. I did buying trips all around the world. Like
Wow.
I said, studying abroad really inspired me. So it was actually very globally inspired, and a lot of the pieces were one of a kinds from all over the world. And um, the question though was how I started or how
Hmm.
I got it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like, did you just like buy a little collection of pieces? And I'm just kind of curious as to like what that first step was for you.
Yeah, so I went to like flea market in my hometown and started buying like these one-off kind of culturally inspired pieces. And then I had a blog in college, but it wasn't like blog what it is today. It was more of just
Hmm.
like my personal outlet, like my online diary. A lot of it actually talked about like personal development and I don't know, motivational quotes. And then there'd
Yeah.
be like a style aspect of it where I would like style different outfits. And so there was this this intertwine of like fashion and personal development. Anyways, I
Right.
didn't really think anyone read it because it wasn't for anyone. It was just for myself. And I used the blog as like a way to launch a store, which was really just again like little project where I was like, oh yeah, I love all of this stuff. I modeled all of it. My mom literally took photos of me outside of our garage, like on my iPhone like 6 or whatever it was. And I put it online, and I remember staying up all night because I was so excited to just like make this website and get creative. And I put it online the next day, and like people were buying stuff, and it was all getting sold out. So at that point I was like, okay, well, I gotta get more stuff. And I needed to source and went to different like flea markets basically. And then I went and I was doing these pop-ups in my hometown. So this was all like when I moved home after college. I was doing these pop-ups, like literally anyone that would let me in, because here I am like 23 years old, basically just trying to tell the world that I want to start this company. Like, can you let me in? I just want to sell clothes. Like, here's my concept. And thank God I was in a place where it was a lot of like adults and parents. And I think they felt a little bit bad for me. So they're like, yeah, here's the entry to my nail salon. You can just
Oh
put
my
it
God,
on the
stop.
clothes. Or like, are the country club would have like a holiday like event. It was literally a 56-year-old woman coming by this rack and just shopping off of the rack. So yeah, it just kind of
Wow.
turned into like a quarter of a rack to a half to a full rack to 5 racks to then moving down to LA and like a whole nother chapter. It's like a whole nother story.
Wow. That is, I love, I just love hearing like that it really started out of passion for you and like this fun, exciting side hobby with no intention of like, it becoming what it is today. Like I think it's so cool that that natural evolution happened on its own, of course with hard work and making the right choices, but I think that's so cool that it's rooted in like your passion and your love for fashion and culture and things like that. I think that's awesome. I'm so curious to know, like, so that's how you started, and we know where you're at now. 12th Tribe is so well known across the board, like so many girls. Like, if you don't know the brand, it's like, do you live under a rock? And I want to know what scaling has looked like for you. Like, was there like a point where you were like, you had this vision of what it is today, or was it just, the next right step, and then one thing led to another and got you here? What did that process look like?
I would say a lot of personal growth, most importantly, because when I first started, one, the space was so new. Like e-commerce was very new when I had first started, which it really wasn't that long ago. But things have just changed so fast, right? So when I first started, it was like passion project. Like, yeah, let's keep this just like uh, let's keep this small. Like the idea of scaling, even in e-commerce itself, hadn't really been talked about when I was first starting. And my goal was just like keep hustling more and more, keep turning the dollar, keep growing more inventory. And we didn't spend money on ads for like 2 years into having the company, where now you're launching a brand, you're most likely starting your ads the day of. If you're not, then
Mm-hmm.
you're probably behind. So for me, I was like very focused on this like organic growth off the bat and really making sure that I could really like, God, I worked way too hard. I could have just put some money on the internet and like scaled it. But it was like so important for me to like get in front of people, make sure that the brand was like really had a true community behind it and create like authenticity or organic following. Cause I thought in my head, like, hey, if I just put $1 behind it, I'm just going to reach all these people and like, I won't feel connected to it and I won't feel like we have a community. It's kind of like I just bought these purchases. So in my head, I'm like, oh, well, now I'm realizing I just did it way too hard. But it created like a very strong brand today because I was able to go out and meet everyone. But when, the business kept picking up and it kept growing organically, and then we started dipping our toes into digital marketing and seeing the growth that we had from that. And even today, like just as I realized the capacity of the internet and how many people are online, that's really where like you transform the mindset of like you can reach so many more people at such a larger scale, and you can really like get into the territory of becoming one of the most sought after fashion companies or places, fashion destination. So it was, it's become a really amazing and just motivating concept and idea to be one of like the top destinations for females to not just like buy clothes, but also to connect and like create a community within and behind it. So hopefully that answers your question.
It does. And that was so eloquently put. And I love that. And I think that you made a really good point about like the community. And I feel like so many brands like seek that community. And I feel like that was probably a huge, you know, factor for, your success. People love being able to have a strong community and, know exactly what they're going to get when they go to your brand. And I feel like your brand has had a really strong, sense of self for a while. Like it's like I feel like it's just been very well like, you know, consistent. I think it's just been very consistently like the place to go. And I mean, I've known of 12 Tribe like since the start because I was on Instagram and I've followed you guys for years. And like, I mean, I've just always loved what you guys have done. And we actually both recently got to, you know, work with you and collab, which was so great. And honestly, it was like a little like milestone for me because it's so fun. You know, like as soon as I became an influencer, I was like, oh yeah, like I would love to work with 12 Tribe. So I'm curious if you feel like that community aspect was kind of like a game changer for, you know, the growth of your business.
Yeah, I mean, like to your point, a lot of brands strive to have the community aspect behind them, and I would say, like, if anyone is listening to this with a brand that they're trying to grow, community is the most important thing because you can go anywhere and shop and do, you know, the competition for almost every industry is insane. So,
Right.
how are you standing out amongst the crowd? It's going to be the personality and the story behind the brand, and you know, bringing down that barrier between like the brand and the other person, like the person on the other side. I think that as big as you get or as big as we get, I always want to keep this feeling of being a boutique, like a small boutique where like you go in and you know the people that are behind the desk or are, you know, helping you in the store or you're emailing with. So that's really important. And telling it through whether it's, you know, Instagram stories and not being extremely cookie cutter perfection on everything and not having it look completely manufactured is
Right.
really helpful for people to know that behind this place that you shop that may look like even the scale of Nordstrom or something, there's real people behind the scenes and it should be like a real interaction rather than just so transactional, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. I
A lot
love
of
that.
intention and meaning behind the things that we do at 12th Tribe. So we always want to like make sure that if someone's coming to shop with us, they know that like we really, really care. It's not like, you know, I'm in the DM still. Like I am literally on Instagram responding to people. And while I have considered letting go of that, for me, it's like my tie to the community still to be able to
Yeah.
listen and hear and just interact as much as possible. So I think that's really important as well.
Yeah, that's so good because it's so true. That is really a sweet spot when you can match like, you know, the high level of being like a brand like Nordstrom, for example, but also having that boutique element where you do have this like personal connection. Like we can all think of like hometown boutiques that were our favorite that we used to shop at high school, you know, and you feel like connected in that way. So I think it's so smart for you guys to have that approach while still scaling on such a large level. That's awesome. And also it makes me curious to know about how you conceived the name 12th Tribe. Like of course tribe is community, but
Yeah.
I want to know where the 12th came from.
So yeah, to your point, like the tribe is your community, it's your like-minded people, friends, family, everyone's kind of just like on the same mission in a sense. Has nothing, there's no like religious background whatsoever. There's no like cult meaning behind it or anything like that. But the 12 comes from, like I mentioned before, I studied abroad and while traveling, I went to 11 different places. And like I said, I learned the most when I studied abroad because it wasn't about necessarily what was in the books for me. It was about just my personal growth as a human being. Even to this day, my mom's like, you came back and you were a completely different person. Meanwhile, I was only there
Mm,
for 2 months. But when
wow.
you go to such a foreign and new place, especially out of your bubble, you have a whole new perspective of life. And what you thought was what you thought you were capable of completely 10 folds. And you realize that the world is really your oyster and you can really do anything that you want, right? Like you can create your reality, you can do anything. And that's such an insane mindset to be able to achieve because that is limitless and it makes life so exciting. With that said, I went to 11 different places and all of the inspiration from these different places came into the 12th. So I went to Southeast Asia, Bali, you know, Thailand, Europe to do buying trips, like as the brand started as well. So like I said, it was way more globally inspired, but we'll get that route back. It just with COVID, everything was
Yeah.
obviously flipped upside down and even saying the word travel was like you're canceled. So
Yeah, exactly.
that got changed a little, but
Yeah.
yeah, sure.
So cool. I really love that. I want to know like where I feel like you're naturally a creative person. You've always had this love for fashion like you mentioned. Where do you feel like your vision for the brand other than travel? You know, I know that's how it was born and like how it was conceptualized, but now like what do you find brings you inspiration after doing it for, you know, as many years as you have been?
Yeah, I mean, I find inspiration for so many different parts of the business. So whether it's like on the business side or more of the creative side, if it's in like the product development, but you know, I love my team is so inspiring. Them coming up with new ideas and seeing them have the autonomy in their positions s- and going off of their creativity is inspiring for me. Um, and I mean, you have to have endless inspiration because you are putting out fires. You are like, not only is it creative, but you're also kind of getting kicked to the ground a few times and having to get back up from, you know, building structure, systems, you know, operations, plus like product development, creative and marketing. I definitely go through creative ruts for sure. But usually, you know, I just need to step back a little bit. It's usually when I'm really overwhelmed, like there's just too much on my plate and I'm just so creatively drained. So I try to find things that maybe I've neglected for a while, whether it's just diving into some Pinterest and getting lost in the creatives, or reading, you know, a book, something personal development, or talking to other people. Fortunately, I have some great friends that are in this industry, and we all go through. Talking to someone else that's been through something you've been through can definitely help inspire you.
I love that. And I love like how you're just like trying to focus on things that you potentially have been neglecting, because I feel like that's where we like lose a lot of ourselves. Like I know that when I kind of start to feel, you know, off my, you know, not super aligned, I'm like, okay, I need to get back to like, you know, my roots, the things that, you know, originally inspired me, like reading or, you know, yoga, taking a walk even, you know, as long as you're giving
Mhm,
yourself the space, I feel like that's what's most important. I am really
mhm.
curious, kind of like on the business side, what kind of things that you feel like have really set your business apart? Because of course you have such a great community. Is it something that you kind of just it came naturally, or you know, were there certain, you know, intentional things that you did that you feel like you know were a game changer for you?
Yeah. Back to bringing in the personality to the brand, that was something that I'd always wanted to remain. And not necessarily for like my face to be the brand or anything like that. That was never really my intention. It was more so that, especially when I first started 12th Tribe, I was so lonely. I was so alone. I had no employees, right? I worked out of my
Mhm.
apartment from like 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., barely saw the light of day. And I'm a solo entrepreneur. I don't have any partners. And, you know, getting off the ground when you're starting a business alone can be extremely hard. You know, I've went through like severe depression. I was so alone and I was living in a new city. So I relied on the community of 12th Tribe a pretty good amount.
Mm.
Like I would put my face and talk to them as and like build authentic relationships through the internet and be on customer service and live chat as the person that's helping them on everything. My name might be Demi and it might be Sarah and it might be Jessica. Like I literally had different personas, but it allowed me to like really get to know my customer. Like I know my customer inside and out. Even when you people on the team come in and like I can answer any question that they have because I know our our customers so well. And that is so important as an entrepreneur to be able to basically live, breathe, and be who you are serving, because that's the only way you're going to be able to really speak to them. Um, you know, it's yeah, that's definitely a very important part of it. I feel like I got a little off course. Does that answer your
No.
question?
Yes, yes. We're all about going off course because sometimes that leads like to the best points ever. So you're good. I love that
Yeah.
a lot. And I think it's like really a really cool take on it, because we've had a lot of, female founders on, and we don't really hear people talking about the customer that often, like not at that level of like being super intentional about that relationship and really like caring about who the customer is. Like, everyone just wants a bunch of customers, but I think it's awesome that you like really care about each individual person and really understand who they are at their core. I think that's amazing. I want to ask you about stepping into the role of being a female founder and what that process was like for you. Do you feel like leadership is something that comes naturally to you? Do you feel like it's a skill that you've worked on the past few years? And, you mentioned you have a team of amazing women. So, tell us a little bit about that side of the business and what it is to be a leader for your tribe.
Yeah, and that's a really good question, because I think that's something that a lot of people don't think about and don't even understand either, coming into work for a company with a younger founder or CEO, just in general.
Right.
Especially when I started when I was 23. So there was this imposter syndrome, thinking and asking myself, should I be in this position? What am I doing? I'm not cut out for this. I can't be a leader. I can't manage. People I would hire were all older than me. I mean, oftentimes they kind of still are. Even if it was like external partners, when we moved into a 3PL, I was having to communicate with a 60-year-old man who gave zero shits about females, or especially young females. I had never experienced like this sexism in the world ever until this relationship where I was being talked down to. Nothing I said was of value. I was literally worthless to him. Anything I said was like, you are incompetent.
Okay, wait, pause. For our audience who doesn't know, and us, if I'm going to be completely honest, what is a 3PL?
Sorry, it's a warehouse. It's like a outsourced warehouse.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So like where all of our merchandise. Sorry.
Okay. This makes sense. This
all
makes
of our
sense.
merchandise, and they ship it out.
Copy. So, okay.
Yeah. Anyways, so over the last few years though, I'll say like I have always tried my best, and I've always wanted to grow. And I think that's the most important thing as a leader, just a person in general, being able to take the feedback and constructively growing and changing and just evolving. I have not done everything perfect, that's for sure. I have had to hire and fire, and I've had a lot of different people on my team because the business has grown. I've grown. Other people may have not grown, or they grow in another direction. But at the end of the day, it's definitely a challenge to sit into the mindset that like you are running, a multi-million-dollar company and you are a CEO. Like I still, especially, this also goes to like the dating world and my dating life as well. It's like when you are like meeting men that might feel intimidated by your title, or there's this like, I don't know if it's an insecurity. I don't really know at the end of the day what it is, right? But like you start to question like, should I be a CEO? Like, is that too much of this like masculine energy? Do I need to like tone it down? And you kind of get in your head, especially as a female, and a female in the fashion industry, because it's actually a male dominated industry. So if you go and look up like any CEO at a fashion company, it's a male, which is kind of crazy. But that's because probably because it's the hardest freaking industry, and it just dates back far, far, far. Anyways, but like I've stepped into, you have to surround yourself around the right people to really feel like the best leader that you can be. And that's something that I really, really learned over the last year and a half too, is like, I've always found it very important to surround yourself by people that are better than you. And like I said, your vibe attracts your tribe. So just making sure that you're surrounded by people that empower you and support you, and are inspired by you and you're inspired by them. Surround yourself with people that want to grow too. That's like one of the most empowering things as well as a leader, is just like surrounding yourself around people that can take constructive criticism, that can work their butts off, but also give, like, the communication has to be not just one way, it has to be vice versa. And you just start to grow so much as a leader. Go ahead. Do you want to
So
pass the
yeah,
mic?
there's so much that's good here. You're validating a lot for us right now because we own a creative digital agency, and it's really great to hear you say that the hardest part of the actual business is the leadership role, and like being like that is the hardest part because we have definitely been struggling with that. So it's really nice to hear you say, after building a multi-million-dollar company and being like, yeah, no, that is the hardest part. I'm like, okay. And we're not crazy.
That's the hardest part. It doesn't turn off. It's fortunate that you guys have each other. I don't actually have a partner. So um learning how to manage my emotions, or just even just I think, like, life in general, solo is challenging because you have to show up every day, right? Like, how you are reacting or how you are carrying your emotions are going to affect everyone. And I know that I'm very fortunate to have team members that are very transparent with me, and I can be transparent with them. So if I'm having a shit day, I can say, like, look, guys, I love you
Yeah.
to death. I might eat your head off today because I'm going through some personal things. I might be crying in the back. You can't hear it. It's fine. No. But it's just good to, like, you just have to, like, you have to show up every day. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of pressure at the end of the day. If shit's hitting the fan or you're having a great day, you kind of have to just, like, remain neutral and keep leading the charge. So
I love that. And I think that I love that you said that because, we are like emotional beings. We have feelings. And, as particularly, women entrepreneurs, like we shouldn't have to like stifle those down. I feel like it's, especially to have each other, it is so nice because,
yeah,
people like, we can get offended. You know what I mean? Like it's in our nature
we
to
have our
like,
period once a month. Sorry, I don't know if
yeah,
there's men that listen to this,
I don't know.
but, like, I have started to send out calendar invites and been like, everyone invite me to the worst week of my life
Yes.
because my emotions are literally like this when it's that time. Like, I have anxiety like, I have to remove myself sometimes. I'll be like,
Yeah.
guys, I'm working from home for the next few days because I have to balance some emotions and I don't want to take them out on anyone. But guys don't even
Yeah.
have to deal with that shit. You
Yeah.
guys don't have
No,
to do that.
it's so true. And like like none of us are perfect. And that really like gets exacerbated by leadership and, getting so emotionally invested into your company. So it's like you can get rubbed the wrong way very, very easily. And so we are very fortunate to like have each other as like a sounding board and be like, okay, no, like, you're being a little fucking crazy, or, no, maybe we should react more strongly to this. So we are so fortunate. But I think it's really incredible that you kind of have recognized that in your own path of leadership and have been like, you're just taking autonomy over your emotions, your actions. And it is like, I respect it so much because I know how difficult it is with us as like a duo. And I can only imagine how much harder it would be to be doing all of that by yourself. So honestly, just kudos to you because that's such a strong part of the business that I feel like is overlooked.
Yeah, definitely.
I love that.
Yeah, I could not agree more. It's extremely admirable, put it that way. I want to pick your brains about the business side. Like a lot of people go to business school and they learn how to run a business and then they start a business. But when you don't have that degree, we're both college dropouts, by the way. So it's not like we're like, oh, you need a business degree. But I'm curious to know how you learned
Yeah.
everything you do know about business. Was it just trial and error, or did you dive into books, or what did that process look like for you? Because there are so many things to learn about business when you're especially scaling at the level that you're at.
Yeah, and it's really easy to make mistakes that'll cost you a lot. So,
Right.
especially from, like, getting your business license, seller's permit,
Mhm.
trademarking, tax liabilities, everything like that. People think it's a lot easier to start a business than it is, right? Because you can just, like, the barrier to entry these days is a lot easier. So it's really important not to miss those check marks. And, my advice to other people would be to connect with people who have gone through it already, because that's really been a saving grace for me. I'm really fortunate to have had someone in my life that had started a business and is my guardian, was like my guardian angel, and, really made sure that I wasn't making any big mistakes, especially legally wise.
Yeah.
And so I'm very into reading, personal development, listening to podcasts, especially about other entrepreneurs as well, because you can learn a lot from other people's mistakes. I think that's one of the best things about, connecting with other people, is we've all been through hell and back in some sense. So why not spare someone a trip
Sure.
if
Yes.
you can?
Totally.
Yeah. I just really threw a lot at the wall and tried to see if it stuck, and threw open an Excel sheet in college. I never took an accounting class. I didn't learn that much of what I'm doing now in school. It was all just trial and error in a new industry, right? E-commerce is really new. So diving in and asking so many freaking questions, I'm like probably lightweight annoying of how many questions I'd ask people, and not to be like nosy or anything, just so curious. Like, you have to be so curious and be okay with asking questions and messaging random people on LinkedIn. I would do informational interviews. I would call people who looked like they knew their shit and be like, tell them my story. Hey, I'm X, Y, and Z, and I have a few questions. Like, can I run them by you?
Wow.
So
Yeah, I love that, because it takes like, hustle and grit. Like, you're out here, you're not waiting for the answers to come to you. Like, you are out there searching for these answers, finding out, being curious. And I love that you mentioned how important it is to be curious and stay curious, because that's how we learn and develop. And even in personal development too, just like being curious about yourself and your own triggers and things like that. But it's a whole other rabbit hole. But I think that's super cool. And I think definitely like mentorship and community is the best advice for, our audience listening who's thinking about it or in the middle of trying to start a business. I think for so many people, that is the reason that they don't. It's because of those scary what ifs. Like, what if I fuck up? What if I lose a bunch of money? What if I do something wrong? What if I get sued? So I encourage everyone to take on mentorships, go onto LinkedIn, find the people, ask questions. People are generous with their knowledge. They do want to give back to others and help them and be a podcast and give out free information as a resource. So definitely like stay curious, be out there and seek the information. Don't wait for it to come to you.
Yeah, and I also love that you like are going out there and searching for those answers, because I feel like a lot of people unfortunately like wait for shit to fall in their lap. Like, or they're like, they'll post or they'll like message one person and be like, "How did you do it?" And you're like, where the fuck do I start? You know what I mean? Like, this is years and years of, we always say FIFO, which is figure it the fuck out. And like, we just, like, I feel like you kind of have to have that sort of energy as like an entrepreneur or like an aspiring entrepreneur. Like, you've got to have this ability to figure shit out on your own and just like with the help of others. But, no one else is going to like do the hard work for you. You have to put in that sweat equity by yourself. And with that kind of being said, I'm curious as to like, on that business side, how do you manage everything? Like, do you use like Notion, or do you use like Asana or anything like that? Like, kind of how do you do like the project management internally?
We started on Trello. Like, we tried to use that, but I have a project manager, and she has done a really good job of just building out some project trackers for all of us, or for each person on the team if they need it. For myself personally, I'm really the type that just I am like organized chaos up here. I will put it on a notepad, I'll put it in my calendar, and then it's in my brain. But I will not forget shit. Like, I will not forget anything in my business. Like, these girls down here, they're like, how do you remember that? I'm like, it's probably, I don't know. Like, I don't remember anything from college, but like, I could tell you what you said on this day about this, and I won't forget. But one of the biggest things too is just like note taking. So, throughout all of our meetings, I make sure we're always taking notes now and attach it to the meeting, which is really important. It comes down to really personal preference. I've noticed you can't you can't really force scheduling or project tracking in a certain way for certain people. So certain things work for others that might not work for some. And like I said, though, we use like an Excel tracking. We just built
Okay.
it out ourselves because
Nice.
it's just like it's all different in each department. So we have
Yeah.
to break it out into what each person really needs and how much information really needs to be on there. So
Yeah. It's no like one size fits all.
yeah.
Yeah, it's so true. People learn in such different ways, so that's really, really sound advice. Even for us, it's like, oh, okay. It's really not like, okay, here you go. This is it for everyone.
Mhm.
This has been so good. I know you have to run soon, so we're gonna wrap it up with 2 final questions. Feel free to keep them as brief as you would like, but we ask every guest these 2 questions. The
Okay.
first being, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received? And this can be short, it can be long, whatever you want.
It's always hard when you say ever, like when you've
Yeah,
ever
I
received.
know.
That is, it's like hard to narrow that down.
Maybe like more recently.
Yeah. I would say, well, right now I've been really like drawn to the phrase "no one is you" and that's your power
Ooh,
because
love that.
especially when you're in this seat and kind of back to that whole conflicting mindsets about whether or not you're doing things right or
Mm-hmm.
the best way, it's really important just to remember that like whatever you are doing is going to be great for someone and it should be great for you and that's going to be your greatest power at the end of the day because no one else can do what you're doing because no one is you. But it
Love
does
that.
fall back to like your vibe attracts your tribe. So just, be who you are and you're going to attract the like-minded people and stay true in that. But
Love
I would
that.
say for your listeners though, I would say you just take the damn risk. Like where
Okay.
you're going to be less happy where you're at than trying and failing, probably not. Or probably.
So good. So good. So good. Okay, and the last question is, what is your best biz pro tip? So this could be a time management hack or an app that you love to use, literally anything.
Yeah. So every Friday we'll do like Friday wins at our company and
Oh, that's cute.
this, yeah, because it could be like a shitstorm of a week and everyone's feeling unmotivated into the weekend or vice versa, but it's just always good to like finish out the week strong no matter what. However, we've changed it recently to share like a productivity hack basically because there's like so many things we're all learning throughout the week that we just don't get the time to be like, oh, hey, I learned this.
Right.
But one thing I hope will be helpful for other people that are using Slack is do you use Slack or do you
Yeah.
know what Slack is?
Yeah.
Okay. Is to turn off so there's like a setting on Slack where it just shows the unread messages instead of having every single one show. And recently it's just become very overwhelming for people on Slack because everything is so urgent. And I'm
Right.
trying to get us to be more balanced, like offline and online, and just not think that everything is so urgent. It doesn't all need to be done within a second. So there's also kind of like this overwhelming notion when you have so many Slacks open. So just really keeping it cleaned up is really important. And I highly recommend for anyone that's inundated with Slack.
That is such a good biz pro tip. I love that. We got a little Slack tip. I love a good Slack tip. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been a really incredible conversation. If people want to follow you in your journey, where can they follow you at?
So you can join the brand on Instagram at Shop 12th Tribe. And then my personal Instagram is Demi Marchese. And I always love giving feedback and advice to people because are we doing a little selfie moment?
Taking a random one.
My face is probably like, bleh. Anyways, my personal Instagram is at Demi Marchese. And like I said, I like giving advice because I've been through a lot in the last few years and I wouldn't be where I'm at without other people giving me advice. And I never want to forget that, even as the business grows, even as my schedule just is busy, just want to keep the roots, you know?
Love
really important.
that. It is so important. It really is. And I love that. And you're just amazing. You're so genuine and truly authentic. So we can't thank you enough for coming on the show and spending your time with us. If you guys enjoy this episode, take a screenshot, let us know you're listening, tag us, and we will see you guys next week for another episode. Bye, guys.